What's up guys? In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how to make a flood hazard map right here. Let's get into it. And we're going to be in Florida, specifically Broward County. And I don't know exactly where that is. We're going to just be getting the data from right in the portal. And I know some people don't really mess with getting data from portal because obviously you don't know what data you're going to be downloading, if it's even legit. So that's one thing to be aware of. But we're gonna type in Florida flood zone. Yes. So once you type in Florida flood zone, we're gonna look for a specific one. Actually, it doesn't really matter for real because all seems to be like the same exact data set. I tried multiple data sets and all of them were exactly like this. We're gonna type in Broward County roads because obviously when floods happen, transportation is affected. So that's the importance of us adding the roads as well. And we're gonna just add major roads, and then we need cities because we need to know what areas are being affected. So we're gonna type in cities, city boundaries. Hopefully that comes with the names as well. Okay, perfect. And this is our map so far. So we have the major roads, we have the flood hazard areas, and we have the city boundaries. You're gonna go into the attribute table, and this is gonna give us the data that we're gonna be looking at. So from this attribute table, we can see the different flood zone areas. And if you don't know what they mean, what the meaning of those flood zone areas are, you can always Google it. But for reference, AE is high flood risk. Anything like X is minimal flood risk. First things first, we're going to go ahead and turn off these layers because we're not going to be dealing with them right now. I'm going to change this base map because let's just do light gray canvas. And then later we're going to turn off the base map, so it doesn't even matter for real. But I'm going to turn off that. Okay, so we're going to go to Symbology. Going to click our flood hazard areas. And then we're going to do unique values. Okay, so the reason that we did unique values for the Symbology is because we needed to do different colors for each of the flood zones. So we're turning off the layers that we don't need. Well, the areas of the attribute table that we don't need, like this one that says area not included. We don't need that. We don't need D and all other values. And what we're going to do here is going to click more, and then we're going to format all of the symbols. And this allows us to change each of the symbols without having to individually, like, hey, go in and remove the outline. We're going to do no color for the outline, because I feel like the outline is just crowding everything. And now we get this nice pastel looking map, which I love. Like, can we just leave it like this or no? So AE is actually high flood risk. So we're going to make this red. Well, like a dark red. And for this video, I'm just going to use the colors that are here. So we're just going to make a slightly different map, but it's still going to look the same. And then we're going to go back out. And then we're going to go to the next one. And AH means shallow flooding risk. So this can obviously be a lighter color. And if you get the gist already, it's just changing the colors up a bit from lighter to darker. And then we're going to go back out. And then we're going to go to the next color, which is A. And that's going to be AO, which is shallow flooding. So that's going to be an even lighter color. And then, guys, we're going to go back out and we're going to go to VE. VE is a coastal high hazard, which is really important because obviously if you're near the coast, it's going to be bad for you. And me, I live in the Bahamas, so I know about flooding on the coast. And then we're going to go to X. X is very minimal flood risk, so we're going to do an even lighter color for that one. And it's going to be a light. Boom. Oh, one thing I forgot to get from the catalog was water. Broward water. Because we need to get the surface water bodies to know, like, hey, this is where flooding happens, and then there's a lake right there. That's why that's important. And yeah, so it's looking together, it's coming together. Let's say we're done with the symbology in the flood zone before we leave. Okay, so I'm gonna turn on 0% annual, and that's a very extremely low flood enchants, and I'm gonna change this to a very light cream color. Okay, boom, found it. And we're gonna do a very pale. Isn't really pale. And we're gonna use this color. Okay, so we're done with our symbology for the flood hazard areas. Now we're gonna move on to the water. We're gonna turn back on this layer, and now we're gonna symbolize this one. Oh, okay. So we're gonna go into symbol, and first of all, we're gonna take off the outline. We do not need that outline, so it's off. I cannot see. I didn't even have the layer selected, and this is a lot. I kind of already like the color. I'm not gonna lie, but I just want it a little bit paler somehow. So let's say we can do that. Well, just so it doesn't take away from the other information. This is good. So we like this color of water, right? Do you like this color of water? Yeah. So I'm working with that. So now we have our 2 layers, and now we can move on. And now we're gonna go to major roads. Now for the roads, we definitely have a lot to choose from. So we're gonna maybe turn off some of these roads because honestly, well, first things first, let's turn off the labels. Let's start there. We're gonna turn off the port, the airport, and the city. And we're gonna leave these 3 roads. So we have the state roads, we have the county roads, and we also have the city roads. So we're gonna individually deal with these. Now for the state roads, I do believe they are more important. So we're gonna make these a very, very light gray. We're gonna turn this to 0.5. And what you're gonna do now is go to the county roads. And for the county roads, it's just basically like a swindle down the line. We're gonna do 0.4, and we're gonna see how 0.4 looks. It's basically invisible, and that's fine. Because the roads aren't the most important stuff, but it is important, it adds context. And that's what we want to do. We want to give context. We're going to do the same thing, but with a lighter shade for the, city roads. And boom, there you have it. We have our roads. Actually, I'm going to make the roads a little bit thinner. 0.5 is like big. So let's look at this. Okay, so I found this a new layer. Cities, municipal boundaries. Now we're just gonna hope and pray that this works. So for the city boundaries, what we're gonna do is turn off all of the symbology, which is no color for the layer, for the outline and the fill, and it should completely disappear. So then we're gonna go to labeling, and we're gonna go into the SQL query, and this is where we're gonna do an expression. This expression is to have the city names that has the values of Coral Springs, Davie, Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Pembroke Pines, and Pompano Beach all show. And it should look like this. Boom. There you have your labels. Now, the whole map, we're done with the map. We're done. So what we're going to do is turn off our light gray base, which is our base map. And now we're going to get to the fun part, which is layout. My favorite part. We're going to do a new layout. And this is going to be 8.5 by 11. I love the layout view. First thing we're going to do is do our map frame map. And boom, there you have it, guys. We have our map. So first things first in the map, we're going to do text. We're going to do and go to service layer credits. So this removes the credits that automatically shows at the bottom of the picture of the map and that. Now we need to size our map for it to fit in this extent properly. We're going to do activate. This allows us to change anything inside of the map. And then we're just going to size our map. And there you have it. So this is how everything looks as of, I'm still in activate. And this will happen when you don't come out of activate. So just be mindful of that. X out. One thing that I've noticed is that I cannot see my text. So I'm going to go back to my map. I'm going to edit my labeling tab. So for my words, for my text, I want them to be, we're going to use calibrate. I need this text to be big because it shows differently in the layout. Watch this, see? Size 16, very big here. Look here, slightly bigger. But so it's always good to like bounce back and forth between the different tabs, map and layout. And now we're just gonna edit this color a bit because we want to give like an aesthetic vibe. We want to be aesthetic. We're gonna use this green, and then what we're gonna do is click this symbol right here, text symbol, for us to get a halo because we want to outline around our text. It's gonna be white. Watch this. Boom. Do we like this? I can't really see it, to be honest. So we're gonna make our halo bigger. Halo size is gonna be size 2. Now let's see this. Do we like this one better? I do rock with this. The font is throwing me off though. So I want to change my font. Maybe bold. Does it come in bold? Bold. Boom. Boom, boom, boom. There you have it. We're done with this map. So this white space right here, we're gonna use this to our advantage. But first things first, I'm gonna change the base map color to a little beige, a little very dusty beige. Apply. No. Color properties. We're gonna edit this ourselves. Perfect. Now we have like a creamish, beigeish, tan, whatever you want to call it, outline. And then we're gonna move to text. Because we're completely done with the map. We're completely done with all of the heavy, hard work. And now it's time for the fun stuff. We're gonna draw a text box. And we're gonna name this box Flood. Oh, all caps. Flood hazard. Boom. Go to elements. Boom. Now you can open and edit your map. Text symbol allows us to obviously edit your text. So the font we're going to use is Baskerville, I believe. We're going to use a big font. So boom, we have our flood hazard text. We're just going to change this color and then we're going to leave it alone. This shouldn't be a hard or difficult process at all. I just want this a little bit darker. So what I'm going to go do is go into color properties and I'm going to make it a little bit darker. GIS. And I'm going to save this hex code because I'm going to use this for the other text as well. And apply. That's done. We're done with that. So we're going to add a next text for our, just to give a little description as to where this is. Like, this is just a flood hazard map. How do we know where it is? Let me tell you. Broward County, Florida. And it's the FEMA flood hazard zones. Boom. That's our text. We're going to use an italic. So for the first title text, it's just like big and bold. But right now we want something cutesy, something skinny, and italic. Perfect. I love that. Okay. Let's move this over a bit. And boom. So now what we're going to do, remember the color? Don't forget the color, guys. We're going back to that. We're just going to copy and paste that same exact hex code that I had for the title. Now it's brown. So we're just going to draw the legend. See how we're like really utilizing this white space? Because usually like maps wouldn't even have this white space like this. You have to like size the map to be smaller. So now this legend has a lot of stuff that we don't want. So turn off the roads. All we need is the hazard areas. Now we're gonna go back, see? So we have our hazard areas. We don't want this title in it. So we're gonna go to legend, just click this. And then you're gonna go, and the legend name is not visible. Oh, sorry, wrong thing. Gonna show, don't show. We don't want that. So in order for us to get to the layers that I want to turn off, which is the title, we're gonna go and we're show properties, legend items. Right now, I'm turning off the headings, and that should be it. Because if we turn off anything else, we actually need that. So I still do want this flood hazard areas off because I feel like the title says everything in itself. So what I'm gonna do is enter our map and the flood hazard zones, the name, I'm just gonna remove it. Look at that. Boom, it's gone. So I'm gonna change the layer. I'm gonna move this down. Symbology. I can change the layer order. I'm gonna put this at the bottom because it's the least, like, you know what I mean? It causes the least. It's the least minimum water risk. Move that name. Oh, because that will show. So we're gonna move this as well. Boom. And there you have it. Now the last and final thing, obviously besides changing the text color, is I'm gonna change let me zoom in. I'm gonna change the name of the legend. Because when someone looks at this map, they're not gonna immediately know what this AE means. You know? It's our obligation, I would say, as map makers to define what these things means. Okay, so now to define these tags, we're gonna go back to the map. We should have done this from the beginning, but that's fine. AE, double click the text in the legend, well, the zone in the legend. We're gonna say AE is high flood, caps, high flood risk. We're gonna do the same thing for the other ones. And there you have it. This is everything labeled. I know I skipped through all of them. You can go ahead and copy exactly how I have it. And we're gonna edit the legend. So we're gonna go to text symbol, and remember the color that we copy and pasted earlier for the title? We're gonna use that same exact color again. Apply. And we're gonna change the text also as well. Maybe to something like Concertia, which is perfect. And we're gonna change it. Hey, stop that. We're done. Guys, we're done with the map. Like, I know this was a long video, but we're actually done with the map. So last thing we're gonna do is go to share, and we're gonna export our map because obviously we gotta post it. Duh. So we're gonna change this name to Flood Hazard Broward. This is our map. This is our map.